Hey, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Brand OTC, where we answer your branding questions with a full over the counter product. And today's product is a candy bar, a part of our myths and myths. Sorry, a part of our myths and misconceptions series. So, today we are tackling the misconception that rebrands are just about changing your visuals. And clearly, it is not just that. So, this episode is for brands that think a new logo is the whole cure in a rebrand. So, hello, my name is Cynthia Akita. I am the brand strategist, designer, and educator here at the design Firmacy, and I am happy to speak with you about rebranding not being about the visuals alone. So, people typically think, a rebrand is just a new logo, new colors, and maybe a fancy new font. But if you really think about it, that's just the equivalent of changing your outfit without doing the inner work. If you talk about how much you want to change who you are and all you do is change your appearance, you're not really changing much, right? And so when you have a real rebrand, you go beyond just the surface and you really dig deep into your entire identity, your messaging, your audience, and definitely your purpose, because that's really what changes the outside. The inside has to change and the outside reflects the fruit. So let's get into it. True, true rebrand, start with clarity. Everything you do in life starts with clarity, a level of clarity. You don't want to just jump into Canva and make all the changes and redo your brand kit and all of that stuff. You really want to work on the foundational elements. So now, the difference between what some people may call a visual refresh versus a rebrand is that you are just spicing up a few elements to make them more visually appealing and sometimes to garner the attention of a different sector of your audience. Now, when you're having a full rebrand, you're digging down into the roots. I don't know if any of you garden. I don't necessarily garden right now. I hope to do so in the future, but if you want to kill a plant, you have to pull out the roots. Once the roots are taken out, then there's no more possibility for it to grow, right? And so when you are rebranding, you want to dig into the roots of the brand. You can't just change the top or put some food coloring or whatever on top and think that everything is going to change. Everything starts from the roots. So your visuals are just an expression of those deeper brand elements. I know sometimes we don't really think about that. We see the visual components and we literally think that it starts and ends there. But if you really take your time to understand the purpose of your business, your vision, your values, all of those things actually play a huge role in how your visuals turn out. So if you've ever worked with a brand strategist who also designs logo suites, you would see that the strategy is always the first step before you get into mood boards and colors and this and that and fonts and all the things. You have to start with strategy because that person understanding your brand, where you are now, where you want to be, what you're working on, all of that plays a role in how all of your visual elements are going to look. It determines the type of colors you choose, the type of fonts you choose, even what your logo ends up looking like is based off of your purpose, your vision, your values, your audience, the entire brand strategy. So nothing visual ever stops and ends there. It's a part of a much deeper strategy. So if you choose to ignore your brand core, your brand positioning, or your branded offers, any part of your brand strategy, your rebrand is going to be flat and you are more likely to rebrand over and over and over and over again until you just can't do it anymore. And we don't want you to get to that point. And so that's why we're, doing this video here so that you understand that rebranding is not just about the visuals. It's a lot deeper than that. So, you have to align your identity, your messaging, and your visuals for a brand that will actually connect and convert. Because at the end of the day, having a business means you need to make revenue, or else it's just your hobby, right? So you want to really pay attention to that. So if you ever feel like you've invested in new visuals, but your messaging is still off, or maybe you feel like your audience is confused, even though everything looks better, or you feel like you look upgraded, but the experience didn't upgrade as well, or that your sales didn't shift with your rebrand, then it is very possible that your rebrand was more like a redecoration and not a strategic rebrand, which is what you would want to have. So, in order to have a rebrand that is more than just on a surface level, the first thing you want to do is take your brand vitals assessment. And I know I talk about this often, but I use my 9 point framework to assess the full health of your brand. So, your core, your positioning, your persona, your offers, your experiences, your touch points, your philosophy. My mind just went blank. Your philosophy and your framework. Sorry. We audit all of those things in the assessment and give you a score. And based on that score, you see how you rank, whether it's low, medium, high, and you can really see which parts of your brand you really need to focus on. And in addition to that, we offer a brand detox where you can, will literally, it's a consulting system where we break down your brand, see where the weak points are based on your brand battles assessment, and then we rebuild it up and have a plan for your success along with some accountability. So, for the brand vitals assessment, I want you to head over to mybrandvitals.com. For if you've already taken your brand vitals, awesome. Go ahead and book your brand detox at mybranddetox.com. All right, so that's the first step. Get your brand vitals assessed, get your score, and then see where you need to go from there. Number two, start with purpose and not the palette. So reconnect with your why, who, especially your audience, and how before redesigning anything. You have to know what is special about you compared to the next person because as like just for the fact that we are alive, we have businesses, whatever it is that we're doing, there will always be someone else who is doing it too. And we need to know that we are building our messaging in a way that we are bringing people to us and not to our competitors. So we have to be intentional about that because, again, all of that plays a part in the visual components as well. Next, you want to rework your brand message. So ensure that your new look is backed by language that speaks to the right people and in the right way, which you would have done in step two, right? Then, number four, update your offers to match your evolution. So if your services are outdated or misaligned, there's no visual upgrade that's going to fix that. You need to focus on the offer in and of itself and make it a more amazing offer that matches the change that you're going through. Now, if you have an offer that has not been sold, like it's on your virtual shelf and it has not been sold, then you definitely want to consider auditing that. It's okay to let things go. It's okay to evolve. That's the point of having a business. You look at the data and you make changes as you see fit. So don't be so sad. Don't get too attached to your offers. Know that the end goal in all of this is about the transformation that you're going to provide your audience. That's what's going to put a smile on your face. That's what's going to keep you going even when things get hard. So don't get so attached to the things that don't matter as much and think about how you can best help your audience. How can you best get them to where they need to be? And then number five, let your visuals be the last step and not the first. Your identity, your brand strategy should inform how your brand ends up looking. It shouldn't be the other way around. Don't start. I know. It is fun. It is exciting. It's like buying a house and looking at all the billions and billions of paint colors and all the furniture and how you want to dress things up. But again, if your house is not built on a good foundation, that thing is going to come crumbling down, and you do not want to be inside when it does. The same for your brand. You want to build that foundation nice and strong, and then build on top of that with all the cute, beautiful things that you want to work on. So at the end of the day, your rebrand should reflect who you've become and not just what's trending. All right. You want to have a method to, as I say, a method to your madness. And that's where your brand strategy comes in. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please go ahead and take your Brand Vitals assessment by visiting mybrandvitals.com. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye. You're doing all the things: posting content, updating your website, running ads, tweaking your offers, but still wondering, why isn't this working? Truth is, you might be focusing on areas that look productive, but aren't actually moving the needle. The Brand Vitals assessment helps you stop guessing and start targeting. It's like a wellness checkup, but for your brand. You'll gain crystal clear insight into the 9 essential areas every brand needs to thrive. No fluff, no filler, just facts about where your brand stands and what needs your focus. Because clarity is the first step to real momentum. And when you know where to focus, you start to see progress, not just activity. Get out of busy work. Get into brand building that actually works. Take the Brand Vitals assessment now. Have you tapped into your Firmacy benefits? As a beneficiary, you unlock special offers, gifts, and always stay in the loop. Subscribe today to receive your exclusive dose. Visit firmacybenefits.com.